Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Piotr, and I would like to welcome you back again to the Sunny Views Podcast. Today, with me is
Ishaan, hello.
And today we're going to talk about something not so many people find exciting, but it's definitely an important thing you should know, especially when entering the adult world, and it's finance. We're not going to talk about solely about saving up money for a new game or console. We're going to talk about stuff like taxes and, how do you manage to keep yourself above going in debt and, maintaining a household with a single or double income. So Ishaan, tell us, do you have any experience with, finance? Maybe you're very interested in it,
Yeah, I am definitely interested. It's a very interesting sector and industry. So I've done plenty of research and it's pretty interesting to me.
Yeah, that's a good reason. Finance is not only interested in, it's kind of a critical area of the world. Money rules the world. So it is something to definitely keep in mind. Mm-hmm. And do you think, our generation, maybe not exactly our generation, but, younger people, be it like us, well, no, maybe not like you, but I'm freshly 18, nearly 19, Jesus. But, young people, do you think, we have lost some of that financial literacy? And do you think, it's important for young adults and especially teens and young adults to, have that financial literacy?
Yeah, I think it's important because once you start learning things at a younger age, you'll carry it over to when you're older. So when you're 18, 19, you start learning about financial literacy. When you're managing more money, you avoid going to debt. You can plan things in a more secure way.
Yeah, secure way. I mean, it's also kind of it's kind of a flex, you can say. You look at your friends in school or friends outside school or your family members of similar age. And, you compare, I've got 400 euros saved up because I watched, my spending, and look, I could buy myself now a PS5 or something also fun. And you can't because you spend all your money and you don't watch your spending.
Exactly.
Do you have because I know a few, but do you have any myths about money, about spending stuff, about, if you save this much money, it'll snowball, and, any myths about, financing?
Myths, I think one myth is you have to be stingy, whenever you spend. For me, I feel if you want to spend on something, you should spend it liberally. For example, if something's important to you, for example, it could be a hobby or something, you should spend a good amount of money on it rather than stinge out on it.
Sure. And we could come back to financial literacy, I think, because we talked about that it's important, and
Definitely.
It's all going on, but maybe not all of our viewers know what financial literacy is. Not many young people probably know what financial literacy is. So, Ishaan, could you define financial literacy? You don't need to use exact language, but just get us a general feel for what it is.
For me, I think financial literacy is it's mainly knowing how to manage your money in a way that ensures that you're look for the word. I want to use secure, but I'm not sure if it's the right word. Well planned. We're planned, we'll adjusted.
Yeah, that's a good definition, I think. Many people that I spoke to in the last, maybe not the whole time I've been in school, because, I've been in school when I was 6, so 6 or 7. But, I do think that a lot of people don't know what financial literacy, and they're not, it's stupid to say this, but they're not against financial literacy. Yeah. They're just ambivalent to it. They don't really care. They just keep on living, and just make it to the next paycheck, next donation from your parents towards your pocket money. Because you're not that young. Yes, you are young, but you're not 5.
Yeah.
Do you have have you already developed anything that's I wish I knew this earlier about money?
Wish I knew something before about money. I'm not sure. I can't think of one off the top of my head. But there are some things I wish I've done before. Like I should have saved it instead of spending it.
Yeah, no, that's a common one.
That's a common one, but I feel like.
Yeah, I would say for me, it's like, we're always, we're getting taught this, you gotta save up. You gotta stop spending money. But like, then you realize that, money is kind of fluid and, saying, okay, you should save up. On a small scale, it works. Like, okay, you see a car.
Yeah.
And okay, I want to buy this car. Okay, it costs like, I don't know, 200,000. Brand new Porsche. Oh, I mean, not brand new Porsche, but like a expensive car, right? You say, okay, well, if I cut my spending, I live off rice cakes and tap water for the next 2 years. Well, I'll make that money easily, and I'll be able to in 2 years tell myself, okay, well, I lived poorly for 2 years, but now I've got the car. Now we're happy. Now it's good. But then you realize that on a bigger scale, the more people you say this, the more actual harm it will do.
Exactly.
Funnily towards the local economy, because then these people stop spending as much money, and since money stops flowing, you cut the stream off.
Yeah.
The lake doesn't get filled, so the businesses start slowly making less and less money, and then they. Well, I'm not gonna say they shut down because like half the people start saving up their money, they're not gonna shut down. But
definitely.
Maybe someone's gonna get their paycheck cut or their bonus cut, and now, well, you could have made money, therefore but you didn't make money because you started saving up. So you gotta learn that sometimes it's better just to keep the money flowing.
Yeah.
And
I also think you should teach people let's try to make money so you can afford X instead of saving. How about you try using that money instead to start growing your wealth?
Yeah, you gotta put some risk on some money.
Yeah.
Put some risk in to get rewards.
Yeah.
As we're talking about risk, that's not a great question for you because I know you haven't done anything of this. I'm gonna rephrase this question. There are these normal ways to get money. To get a job.
Yeah, get a job.
It's kind of simple. Get a job. I don't know. Start working at a 9 to 5.
Yeah.
But there are also, I would say, less. That's less ethical. Doesn't make sense in this context. But like less stable and more risky ways to get money, right?
Yeah. Definitely.
So like, for example, gambling gambling is a example, but like
opening
stuff.
a business.
Yeah, or investing in crypto or overall investing. And do you think you should try to put more money into that? Keep it like somewhat balanced between the two, or like try to stick to that 9 to 5 because at least like next week the market won't crash and you'll still have a job.
Yeah. I think it should be a mix, definitely. I think you should rely on your 9 to 5, but you should always have another streams as a support because you never know, like looking at the job market, like for example, Oracle just laid off, I think, couple thousand workers.
Yeah, it's scary.
Yeah, so you can't just trust your 9 to 5.
Yeah, and
nowadays it's becoming risky as well.
It's horrible. In the US, it started a few years ago, but now it's like really taking up steam. Especially with AI now.
Definitely.
You would normally expect, the lower positions to get first cut, and they have been cut already. Like for entry-level jobs at IT companies, now you need like few years experience.
Yeah.
But now people who are trying to apply to these jobs are now competing with 50-year-old senior staff who got laid off.
Really?
Because they're not really useful anymore. Because they're getting paid XXX amount of money for sitting around and providing support or expertise, which now AI can do. And, especially with how in the US, for example, with Twitter, you remember Twitter, right? Well, Elon Musk laid off 80% of employees, I think, and nothing changed. Because, people are slowly realizing, especially in the US, they're waking up to this reality, especially business owners and especially large companies, that, they've got all these workers, all these employees, right? But in reality, they don't really do anything. And that Twitter thing was, I think, the wake-up call for a lot of companies.
I think, because if you look, the tech industry, right, kind of market, in the early days, market itself was being like, this kind of, how do I say, like this campus feeling, you have like these break rooms, the free economies and all. Yeah. And then what companies, I think, realized was some of these workers are kind of like slacking off.
Yeah, the thing is with because I think that is what you mentioned there, like this campus aesthetic.
Campus aesthetic.
I think it really was the thing that brought it all down.
Yeah.
Because, I remember when I was younger, my dad was, telling me, get into IT. Look, this is the Google offices and whatever. Look, you could work here and you could just work 3 hours a day and the rest, sit down in a green chair and watch the sunrise. I think, the big problem with that is that is exactly what happened. People saw how fun it is.
Yeah.
And when originally you had companies, why there is this campus aesthetic, right? Where it came from.
It was to motivate employees.
Not only that, it was also because you saw it in most engineering jobs and ICT jobs. What was happening was these companies, Google, Apple, not at that time, not Samsung, or Samsung was
Microsoft.
in Korea still, but Microsoft as well, Bell Labs also no, but IBM as well was still kind of working back then, BlackBerry. They were fighting for a very small, because back then ICT and IT and software, these were very specific fields and required years and years of university. And, you had this very small group of people that was coming in, and these companies had to, out of 20 engineers, 30 companies had to find their engineer. So, they started competing with, benefits and workplace environments.
Exactly.
And, with that, people saw that and started going into these careers because they saw how cool it is, how cool you can work there.
Supply and demand.
Yeah, and then, you ended up with those 30 companies now have 200 options.
Yeah, exactly.
So they just cut those benefits, and then they realized, hey, we've got so many of these people now coming in. The ball is already rolling. We can just start laying them off and replacing, because they just in these companies, they lay you off. And then they just hire the next person in line, but just without the benefits you have.
The benefits.
Yeah, because they can't really drop them when you're working there, because you can sue them or just quit.
Definitely. As you said, there's a larger supply of software engineers. Absolutely. And then it's funny because, you on TikTok, on Instagram, you see these tech employees saying how they're sitting in the beach and working.
Yeah, I saw I work for Samsung. This is my day.
It's
at 10 a.m. I wake up, go to the office, talk with my bestie. I leave at 11.
Exactly.
Go to the spa,
I'm in the pool working. You're probably fired now.
Yeah, you're probably fired. I mean, a lot of jobs are getting affected like that, especially with AI. I think
definitely.
If we hadn't developed AI, if it hadn't gone public and started picking up steam, I think the problem would be lesser, but we'd still be experiencing this problem. Because people came for the money, came for the job, but then the companies realized that, hey, now we don't need to compete anymore. We're chill. We can just give you the worst of worst, and you'll still be happy.
Yeah, and now the ball is also in the company's court. They have the power to say if you get hired or not. So they have.
Yeah. I think we kind of went off topic for a bit, but coming back to the original topic, do you think that money maybe and overall money as general topic, not just finance, paper bills, but do you think the topic may be a bit daunting, a bit confusing for students? Do you think we are maybe missing some sort of maybe not class, but these students are feeling more lost than ever, especially with the internet, all these different new forms of finance and crypto and whatever.
I think there's two things. One, I think most students my age it's something in the future they need to worry about.
Yeah.
So it's not something immediate. Some of them have jobs, but it's not something where they need to plan, spreadsheets, plan their money out.
Yeah, exactly.
And two, there's a lot of information, so you don't know which source is correct, which method is correct. There's one guy saying, save up, save. Another guy is saying something else, and you're which one?
Yeah, no, exactly. And definitely with, I may not be the best person to ask this because I'm going to say something which maybe some of you know, maybe some of you don't know. But I don't exactly use social media. I only have Instagram. And Instagram is the business competition Instagram that we did for our year 11 project. Really? Do you remember year 11 project?
I was in year 10. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah,
it was fun.
Yeah, I don't think we can say the name of the company due to YouTube, but I don't know what we saw finally. So it's all final. We haven't really figured that one out. But I don't use social media that much. And, it's kind of hard for me to say, but, I definitely see this increase and, young men, young boys, getting kind of roped into this, finance bro aesthetic, just like hustle, make
like
cash, make
trading.
cash. Yeah, exactly. Get into selling Chinese knockoffs of clothing from Panda.
Drop shipping.
Yeah, drop shipping especially. I've got a story which I'm gonna share, but nothing happened, so I can share it, no problem.
Yeah.
But do you know Thomas? Do you remember Thomas? Thomas.
Is the one still here?
Yes, Thomas.
Yeah, Thomas.
Meet Thomas. Do you remember Sam?
Sam, yes.
Yeah, well, meet Thomas and Sam in year 10. We got very fascinated by the concept of dropshipping.
Yeah.
And, we nearly went through with it. We spent like half a dozen lessons on our laptops figuring out like what is the best product we can do. Thomas went with a hand exercise gripping thing, the Gripster. Yeah, you can ask him how the Gripster is going. Me and Sam kind of gave up because we really realized how impractical this is.
Yeah.
And I do think that especially with some products, they don't tell you the danger because dropshipping is cool and all, but then for example you start selling a water fountain dispenser, whatever.
Yeah.
It's an example, right? And then someone gets sick from it, and they sue you because they can absolutely sue you. Like these people don't really give both sides of the story because getting hustling and getting money out of, for example, e-commerce. It's not just all sunshine and rainbows. And I do think a lot of young people have maybe not the wrong impression, but they do have this idea that the money will just come to them.
Yeah,
right.
Because that's what the influencers show. They show it like, oh, I made like what 10K in a day, for example. Yeah,
that's absolutely.
And then it's like, okay, it sets this unrealistic expectation.
Yeah.
And another problem about dropshipping, what's stopping someone just going directly to the stores?
Yeah, that's also something. I mean,
it's like, I just want to say that.
The thing is that it's about getting the people who are either too stupid or too unaware of the fact that it is dropshipping. Maybe I don't say us again because I don't really use them on social media, but the average person that uses social media for 2 hours a day, I don't know if 2 hours is much. So 2 hours a day, if they see an ad for a gaming mouse. And it looks very plasticky, and he looks at the price, and it's like the ad is like, oh, this will make you the perfect gamer. In your beautiful game, and they look at the price at $75. Yeah. Well, they're gonna think, okay, I never heard of this company. It's getting advertised through Instagram or Facebook ads. It has a weirder looking website, which looks very fastly made.
Yeah.
I think it's a scam or scam. It's dropshipping. But someone who isn't really exactly into it, or maybe isn't even in the group that this product is aimed at. So, for example, a old grandma sees this mouse and thinks, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna buy this for my grandson for his 70th birthday."
Yeah.
I think that works on these people.
Yeah, it works on people who are like unaware.
Yeah, exactly. It's so with AI videos. But again, with finance, do you think? Is it a bit of a personal question? But do you have like any financial goals? Like other than like become self-stable, but short, mid-term, long-term. Other than like get self-sufficient, get a house or something.
Okay, this is talking way ahead in the future. When I'm around 30ish, I want to I have this goal, right? Retire by 45. That's my goal. It's like past then I don't really want to work. So that's my goals to try when I'm 30s and I'll just try working.
Drop out of your job, go to Tenerife and sit on the beach for all day until you die.
With the mojito.
Exactly. I am a simple man. I don't have that many financials. I mean, I mentioned like the basic one. I want to be self-sufficient short term. Get a house eventually, but seeing the market right now.
Good luck.
Yeah, I'm gonna predict that at some point in the next 10 years, we're gonna see
a crash. Definitely, man, definitely.
I do think it's gonna be connected to some, major world events that are coming in the next 10 years. Looking where the world is going. But I want to get a plane.
You get a plane.
Yeah, because I want to become a pilot eventually.
Yeah, fair enough.
I want to get but I don't want a Cessna. You know what a Cessna is? That small plane with the wings on top. The one you imagine personal plane as. I don't want a business jet. I mean, I wouldn't mind a business jet. But the costs of operating those are sky high. Jesus. But I would get like a MiG-23 fighter plane from the 70s.
It's fighter
F-14,
plane.
sure, but F-14 would be hell to maintain. F-4.
Okay. Yeah.
Like, I would absolutely get those. But, I do think a lot of people, especially young people, they sit on these goals. And, they've got it at the back of their mind. Oh, by 30, I'm going to get a house and get 2 cars, a pool, a boat even,
Yeah.
But they just like put it further and further away. So further. I could get this extra job, maybe not extra job, but I could, take up this extra shift at my work, and it'll bring me this much closer to, this goal. Yeah. And I maybe wouldn't lose that much. Maybe I don't mind getting an extra shift, but I'm not gonna get it because I don't want to work on. Yeah. The money will come eventually. We'll figure it out. I'll win the lottery someday. I do think that there's quite a lot of precedence in young people.
I think you're more likely to get struck by lightning than win a lottery.
I mean, winning a lottery isn't completely improbable, but it's like compared to other ways that people think are more certain, it's way easier. Like, I would rather play Lotto every Friday for the rest of my life than put all of my savings on crypto, for example.
Yeah, fair enough.
So there's definitely it's definitely not a good way to earn money. So kids, if you're listening, don't put anything on Lotto, please. Yeah. But I do think that there are worse ways. Definitely there are worse ways.
Terrible.
I mean, betting on sports, for example.
Oh my god. Yes. Yeah, I heard there's a new epidemic. Young people sports betting.
Yeah, football I think is the most popular.
Yeah.
I mean, you gotta. Also, this is funny because we think of betting all of it is wrong, which I will admit publicly.
Yeah.
If you're not happy to just throw this money out the car when you're driving or set it on fire, you shouldn't bet on anything.
Exactly.
But I do think that there are forms of betting money which are more, maybe not safer, but more reliable, and you've got closer to 50-50 odds or whatever good odds, and some are very much worse. So it's wouldn't.
Recreational.
Yeah, absolutely, it's recreational.
It's same how some people might have a drink once in a while. Yeah. Some people might go bet on sports once in a while.
Yeah, I wouldn't, for example, put my money on football. I am of this maybe old man time, but I know that these are all people with all of their minds processing, and you can pay people to do something. So there have been scandals before where football matches got caught getting rigged from behind because because one football club got 6 million to lose or something.
Normally it involves a mafia or something.
Yeah, no, not only mafia. I mean just regular business deals. They understand that hey, if we lose this match, okay, now maybe the other team realizes, hey guys, if you lose this match, we can get one of your football players who's really good, but without the public light of us stealing your best player. So you guys lose, make him lose the most. We'll take him and we'll pay you 270,000 or 1 million, or 3 million. Yeah, no, it absolutely happens. I don't think it's that much popular now, prevalent. But definitely in the past, in the early 2000s, 90s, it was definitely prevalent.
I didn't know that.
I'm gonna. Okay, I maybe shouldn't be giving betting advice on this cool podcast. Betting is bad, kids. But
no betting.
Yeah, I definitely see that some of it is better. Motorsports, I think, is a good contender. It's not a good one because they crash every time. You watch a F1 race, and if one car doesn't crash, it's a bad day. You can just throw in the towel. But I don't know, betting on horse races, it's way closer to even odds of you losing, and you've got multiple options of betting than, for example, betting on MMA. And we could probably move on from this topic.
Yeah,
I can already feel. I could feel someone's gaze on the back of my head. But one more thing. I think before we move on to the next bigger area that we're going to talk about is how much do you think you should have an emergency fund? It's out of the blue, but I think something important. And should you even have an emergency fund?
You should have an emergency fund, 100%. Yeah. But I think the amount depends on your lifestyle. If you're living a pretty basic lifestyle, you might need less. But if you want a more comfortable one,
if you travel, I think you should have more than if you work a boring 9 to 5 at an office.
Yeah. I think it should be like 3 months of your salary.
3 months? That's reasonable. I mean, well, okay. Also depends how much you're making.
Yeah, it also depends.
Because if you're making like a lot of money, I'm not gonna point any numbers because I don't know. Yeah. But if you're making a lot of money, I do think you can probably put less in it because you're already making enough money. But like if you're making minimum wage, it's kind of difficult to have an emergency fund. And especially for like the people who make minimum wage, it's very difficult. And especially to get into a good financial position for them, it's very difficult. When you really look at it. Like I have a lot of friends. I've got some friends, that are not really that nice monetarily off. One of my friends, Asim, he's a Croatian guy, and he is not exactly good financially. He's gotten into some money now, but he doesn't have an emergency fund. He doesn't own his place, which I don't think owning your place, and especially this day and age, is something like special. Because especially in the US and other areas where real estate is getting very expensive. I do think that a lot of people just rent their properties.
I think most people rent.
Well, no, I wouldn't say most people. I
mean like more younger people.
Yeah, definitely younger people, because also with younger people, you aren't exactly settled yet. Yeah. Like, when you compare to like a 40-year-old dad with his family, A, he's got a family. B, he's got probably a fairly secure job. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's probably working in some like middle manager position or like higher. Yeah. He knows he's not going to need to move. Yeah. He's not going to need to, start going to a job that's now 4 hours away. So I do think that younger people definitely see a benefit of renting.
Yeah, because you're more flexible.
Plus, some of them also go to college while renting, or university, whatever you want to call it. And if we're already talking about university, one thing that I know you're gonna find, I'm gonna find, everybody in the school is gonna find. One day you're gonna have some money, and in this hypothetical situation, if I would give you $100 right now, $100 straight goes onto the table right now.
Yeah.
What would you do with $100 really? In today's world?
In today's world, just keep it aside. Like I'm not like looking for anything, so I'll just keep it aside if I want.
You don't want to invest it in anything?
I'm 17. I'm not allowed to invest.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like your parents are able to invest. Like you can just give it to your parents, and they can just invest in your name.
I don't know. Probably.
Or maybe you want to give it to your parents as a gift. They brought you up in this world. They secured your future.
True. I might like buy a gift for someone.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially with how it's kind of funny. When I was younger, like it's different because I'm from a country with a different financing system. So it's one zloty is like €5, but like $100, like US bucks, for example, that was a lot of money when I was young. Yeah. That was a profit. But now when you like maybe not grow up, but now that you like enter into more of a, again, not an adult space, but in our modern day, plus inflation, plus others, you realize that now $100 it's still a bit of money, but it's nowhere near to what it was.
Exactly. I remember when we were young, like I used to go. My mom used to go to the grocery store, and she used to get a €50 bill, just 150, and we used to buy entire weeks of groceries. Yeah, €50, and that was like 100 or something. It's more. The point is, it's more, and it feels like, oh my god. Imagine when I grow up, how much it'll be.
Yeah, it'll be horrible. But major world events.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So
You think there'll be a recession though?
No, definitely. The next 10 years, most definitely will be. Maybe not like a worldwide recession. And if there is going to be a worldwide recession, there is going to be the biggest one we've ever seen, like bigger than bigger than the Great Depression. Like the Great Depression is just going to look like a kindergarten class.
Bigger than 2008, definitely.
But definitely bigger. But like I do think it's going to be more localized. You're going to have countries which are going to be better off and worse off. Nobody's going to be good, but like the US is going to be completely horrible. Like I can't say words, but it's going to be over for the US.
That's interesting.
UK, France, a lot of the Western countries, they're going to definitely suffer the most, but other places which aren't exactly, interconnected that much with the West, I do think, they're going to be relatively okay. They may even benefit from it. I mean,
but like,
scooping up businesses and stuff.
If the US goes down, it's going to take all the other countries down with it. Like, we're so interconnected.
I don't think that's going to... Like, I definitely think that it's going to not make it the best time for a lot of places.
Yeah.
But, I don't think it's going to relatively bring them down with it. Because the moment, like, the US stops being, like, the top supplier for, I don't know, like, Europe or... like, South America, right? there is going to be a vacuum in this market. And it'll be great to say, well, the EU is going to step up and it's going to produce all what it needs. And, we're going to be happy holding hands, etc. But no, it's going to create a vacuum. And places like, I don't know, China, like Russia, I wouldn't be so certain considering its current political standing with the EU. But, definitely China. They're going to step in and you're going to see them fill that market. So, it's definitely something. But,
where do you think will cause it though?
I think it's gonna be most likely either the U.S. government having another meltdown, but this one more serious because you remember last month they shut down. I do think it's gonna be a homeless crisis, like workforce crisis, because you see all those layoffs, you see people don't have money. So much more people are on EBT, on government aid cards, etc. I definitely do think that's gonna contribute to it, but as well the housing prices. I do think that we're gonna reach maybe not a tipping point, but we're gonna reach the point where no one can afford a house.
Except if you're super rich.
Yeah, and then they realize that they've got all these properties, but nothing's happening. It's frozen. Those are frozen assets pretty much, because nobody can buy them, and the only people that can buy them already have their own properties. So why bother? Why bother?
I personally think it's gonna be a debt crisis.
Yeah, definitely with the US, definitely it's going to be a debt.
Yeah, there's going to be a debt crisis.
Well, it's 13 trillion now, more.
It's in the trillions.
Yeah, it's in the trillions. They've been in debt since World War II, pretty much. But this podcast was originally supposed to be about taxes, so we probably need to talk about these eventually.
Yeah.
So, do you think that, especially with, how rigid the tax system is in the US and, for example, Europe, do you think, some people maybe not are getting screwed over by it, but we should have some sort of adjustments for people? Like, for example, maybe younger people should pay less taxes, till they reach, 25.
Yeah. I'm actually quite supportive of an asset tax over people who have a network over 10 million. I think an asset tax will be good. But I think there has to be some, tax reforms, definitely. Because the current system, especially in the UK, for example, the UK is not working. I think it has the highest inequality, the second highest inequality in the world.
Yeah.
So there has to be some reform.
Yeah, especially in the US, people are slowly getting disillusioned with this. But, in the US, how... I don't know what it's called, but it's not welfare. It's money people that are old and retired receive.
Pensions.
And it's not also pension. It's kind of welfare, but it's
Social Security.
Yes, Social Security. Exactly what I was thinking of. So what is happening in the US is that, for example, Poland.
Yeah.
In Poland, how it works is the day you start working, you start paying it's not a tax, but it's a deductible from your paycheck, which goes to a fund. Each person has their own fund, and they work their entire lifetime, and they pay that. It's fairly small, I think it's 10% of your income, and that builds up, and then by the end you get payouts from that money. So in the US it works a bit differently. So what happens in the US is that, for example, me and you right now, we start working and we start paying Social Security, but we're not paying for ourselves. What we're doing is we're paying for the people who are currently on Social Security. I do think a lot of Gen Z, a lot of younger people who have just entered the workforce, I do think they are getting very disillusioned because they are seeing with the internet, it's way more prevalent now, but they're seeing the boomers and the old people, and how they supposedly destroyed everything, and they're behaving so poorly towards young people and they hate them. The most entitled generation, etc. And they're getting a bit unhappy. Disillusioned with the fact that we're paying to keep them living a comfortable life while we're going paycheck to paycheck. Not knowing if we're gonna have food for next week.
Yeah, that's the thing. So you can either have two things, individual contribution, but I think the state should step in because, for example, if you're cutting part of your paycheck and you don't earn too much during your lifetime, you won't be able to afford after your cost of living after your retirement. So I definitely think the state should step in there. But when it comes to regards of the young people, I do see why. The money is not coming to us. We do live in the I think this generation is that we won't be able to buy a house.
Yeah.
Inflation's through the roof. It's like...
Yeah, you know, some people are even saying that, you know, maybe we shouldn't even have social security.
Oh.
Like, or maybe not not have social security at all, but have it privatized. So you've got multiple different, you know, companies which offer you social security with different benefits. So there's competition. And, you know, people are just kind of, I think the main argument that they're putting out is the fact that, you know, these people have, for years now or for even decades now, you know, they're not producing anything. Yeah. They're just sucking up resources. And, you know, the state has supported them their whole life more than what the younger people are getting now, literally less than they're getting from the state now. And they've been living like that their whole life. So, you know, they think like, you know, we should stop paying these older people because they've been living a comfortable life while we're living hell.
If those older people, if you think about it, have been putting into the economy, like when they were younger, so this is kind of like a reward. Like saying, hey, you've contributed to the economy, now you can retire in peace, and we, the state, will subsidize that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And do you know, oh, that's a stupid question, but if I were given to you a card, right, and you got like different options there, and like one of the options is like, where would the money from your taxes go? Like, just you've got this bar, and you know, like draw how much percentile wise, you know, where would it go? What do you think you would like put most of your taxes, or like not even most of the taxes, but you know, where would they go?
Where would they go? I think healthcare is an important one. Like it's cliche, but like I think healthcare is important, definitely. Next would be infrastructure.
Yeah, infrastructure.
Because things that if I put money, it's gonna benefit me. Like I'm gonna get paid back in some form or another. Yeah. So definitely healthcare and infrastructure will be the top two.
And would you say, for example, things like research and development, you know, the military, maybe education, like where would those be?
Okay, military and education actually is a good one. I haven't thought about it. Yeah. Those are also important. Educating people who can't maybe afford an education will be important. So, military and education will be in the top five, really. The other one would be, I don't know, transport maybe, like rent, fare and all, improving the transport systems. If I had to pick one random.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
How about you? What would you put?
I would say that, you know, it's kind of with, you know, how governments work, like money-wise. Mm-hmm. It's not exactly, I would say, maybe a sphere. It's not a square. It's not a bar. I don't know. It's a pyramid. Mm-hmm. It's a triangle. You know, each level has to support the ones above it. So, you know, I would say like, okay, infrastructure is probably high up there. Mm-hmm. Wouldn't say it's the number one thing, but I would put it's first or second place. Mm-hmm. I would put education as third place because I do think that, you know, we can definitely privatize some education. There should be some that is, of course, free, but, you know, I do think, you know, privatized education, at least in the higher echelons,
like
colleges
should definitely be privatized.
Yeah, privatized, but not to such an extent where it's completely impossible to get a college education if you don't have money.
Maybe like government subsidies.
Yeah, not only government. I do think there should be some percentage of like public colleges.
Yeah.
You know, I think that maybe on number 4 would be research and development. Mm-hmm. But number 1, which I do think is because what I'm doing is like going from the top, not like from the bottom. So number 1 is the least super valuable thing.
Okay.
I do think that it's the military, but it's not because I'm anti-military. It's not because I'm like, oh, we can't have the military because war is bad.
Yeah.
No, because the current situation, like military-wise, combat-wise, military, the idea of how we're going to fight the next war has pretty much 180. Mm-hmm. Absolutely nowhere what we thought like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
So, you know, I do think cutting some spending and maybe redirecting it into different areas that we're not currently investing in.
Yeah.
I do think, you know, it's something we could do. And at the complete bottom, I would put, Actually, I don't know what I would put in. But what is the most important thing for a country, really? Like spending wise, what is
spending wise?
What do you think is the most important thing?
I would say education, but it depends like what your priorities are.
Yeah, but like, what do you think is the baseline?
The baseline.
Like if you couldn't have anything else, you can put your money onto one thing or one thing only.
I think having a population that has disposable income. That's the most important thing for a government.
So, I don't know what exactly would that be called.
I don't know what it would be called, but it would be the most important thing to have a population that can spend money.
Yeah, and do you think, do you have because we're going to move on to the next, bigger area. Do you know what day trading is?
Day trading, yes.
Could you define it for
me?
us?
It's pretty simple. It's like trading stocks during the market opening hours.
So it's your full-time job. Right?
Full-time job.
And do you have any
opinions?
No, not any opinions, but any people that you know who do day trading?
My dad's friend in Germany actually does it. Yeah. As a full-time job.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting career.
It's an interesting career.
Especially now, since stocks can be traded online, it's definitely been easier than what it was in the 90s. And you've got the Wolf of Wall Street. You gotta go into office and scream into two phones. two phones. Yes, it's you. No, not talking to you. Yeah. I do think it's definitely easier now. And I do think that a lot of younger people are not maybe getting into it, but getting a better idea on what it is and if they want to go into it. And do you think? It's something that you would see, maybe not like younger brother, but, do you think, young people should get interested in it, maybe invested in it?
In stocks, definitely. It's a great way to grow your wealth. But day trading as a career, for me, personally, it's too risky.
Yeah, it's definitely risky.
So I wouldn't personally do it, but if someone wants to do it, well,
I mean, I
wish.
You could be literally the first guy to start a financial crisis. Think about the opportunities there. You could write a book after it. You could get a film director.
Yeah, let me just invest $35K into a company.
And just sell all your company stocks for 1 penny, 1 penny on the dollar, And do you think day trading, or maybe overall crypto? I think it's more of a question towards crypto. Do you think crypto is kind of a, maybe not a cheat code, but it's kind of this. You're jumping over the fence and not really climbing it.
I feel like crypto, it's probably a bad analogy, but it's like gambling for me.
Yeah,
it's luck.
Yeah, you can get very fast. You can literally jump over the fence.
The thing is, with traditional companies, you can predict the market. You can look at their financial reports, their history, and know where they're gonna go roughly.
Yeah, but both of these things, crypto and day trading, do you think it is kind of a? And do you think because now it's a bit more regulated, but maybe not back in the day, but a few years ago, 10 years ago maybe, max crypto example crypto, because crypto is a good example of a lot of things. But online stock trading and all this, it wasn't that much regulated as physical stock trading was. And, back then it wasn't really that much tax on it. Many countries didn't had nada regulation. They didn't have anything.
Crypto.
And do you think those were kind of the heydays? You think of, I'm trying to think of a good example again. But do you think people missed an opportunity? Do you think if you were there, would you go into it and try to get rich very fast when it was still relatively easy-ish to do?
Knowing what I know today, if I had to time travel, I'm putting.
No, if I could time travel, I'd tell my parents to invest in Bitcoin, sell the house, sell everything.
Ethereum.
No, I'm just, Mom, Dad. I know I'm how old am I? 5 years? Yes, around 5 years old. Yeah. Hey, Mom, Dad, there is this thing in the US. It's called Bitcoin. Sell the house, sell the dog, sell the paintings. Invest everything
in crypto.
We're gonna have to wait a year, but we're gonna be rich.
It's gonna be worth it.
Yeah, and then me selling the house had a butterfly effect, and now Bitcoin did not go up.
Now you have to time travel again.
Okay, Mom, Dad.
Younger self, don't do that.
No, Mom, Dad. I know in like 2 days I will say to buy Bitcoin. I do not buy Bitcoin.
Do not trust me. I'm just yapping. What is a Bitcoin?
Exactly. And since we're already on, would you go? Would you know overall risk? Do you think you have to have a certain mindset to do it? Certain personality traits. And if so, what are these traits? I think
you have to be a bit reckless, not in a bad way, but you just have to jump whenever you think the time is right. It can go. You can either fall, or you can go, or you can land on something, but. Yeah. You have to be reckless. I think one of the biggest.
Yeah, absolutely. I do think you have to be very brave.
You have to be very brave.
And I do think that you need to be reckless, sure, but you also need to know when to back down.
Yeah, you have to know.
You need to have okay, we're making money. It's so fun. I can just put all my money. I'm making 60,000 euros in one day, right? But I know this money, a lot of this money is gonna go way back into the investing, and I've got control over myself. You have to have a lot of self-control, I think, to do stocks, to either not blow your money because for the first time in your life you're rich, or not get stuck mentally, not invest, and then either beat yourself over the head for the rest of your life because you didn't make that money, or lose all your money.
It's you have to be confident, but not overconfident.
Yeah, definitely. And do you know how much do you know about trading? Because I wanted to ask you do you
I took
know
a course about one summer.
Yeah, do you know any recent innovations in it? Just out of curiosity.
Recent innovations in what?
Yeah,
trading?
in trading and markets, online. I don't know. I don't know.
Right? The tech sectors are going bad. If you follow Meta and I think other stocks, this is going bad.
Yeah, a little bit. Nvidia is also going down recently.
That my dad actually, he sold Nvidia stocks, right? Yeah. He sold it. I think a day later, a couple of days later, it started to peak, and he was like, "Oh my god!" So it was "Why did you sell it?"
No, absolutely. If we're talking about getting all this money, and I already said people sometimes blow all their money away because for the first time in their life they are rich.
Yeah.
Do you think you can really outside of just making money on just your trades? How easy do you think with the internet now and with all these new personalities, finance bros, etc.
Yeah.
How easy do you think would be to grow? I don't know, a brand around it. Try to get influence as an influencer.
Influencer, I think it should be easy because nowadays you see people going viral for the most minor of things. So I think nowadays it's so much easier to grow an audience, to build a brand online.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think I agree on that. It's definitely it's definitely easier than it was before. Yeah, I don't think it's gonna get easier in the future. Or maybe it's not gonna get easier.
Because there's an oversaturation.
Yeah, there's definitely an oversaturation, but also we have kind of reached, the peak, because it's kind of the plateau graph. Mm-hmm. We've been going up. TikTok is somewhere here, Instagram is here, up, and now we've kind of reached this plateau where it's easy, relatively easy, I'd say, to get popular and get famous, get a few thousand even maybe followers. But it's kind of hard to grow more, because there's enough people that you've got. I don't know. Let's say you're someone who's interested in business, right? Doing finance. You can watch 10 different influencers, 10 different finance bros. They all do a different thing, right? Yeah. And you've got these 10 people. But in the past, you would have 2 people.
Yeah.
And they would need to fill the space of those 10 people. Mm-hmm. So they could grow. But now I do think that it's very easy to stagnate with your career and on social media, etc. And it's even easier to just outright lose interest and just give up, because it's working on social media and working a day trading job, or just trading stocks in your free time, and then again working if you're doing it in your free time. Well, you have to have your money from somewhere, so you're working about 9 to 5 as well. I do think that it can be very stressful on someone, and it may just make him want to out.
Stop. Yeah. I think it's just time management that you have to manage your time in a proper way. That's how I feel. Like if you have too many things, just manage your time.
Yeah, I definitely think so. And do you think I think we should again come back to finance now.
Yeah.
Do you think in the coming years, how many people in your class, this is a personal question, but how many people in your class do you think, if they went into finance right now, like not only trading but like overall, just umbrella term finance? How many people do you think would succeed realistically?
I think that's roughly a good. Yeah, I think there'd be some people who they have the personality. You know what I mean?
They've got the personality.
Like they have this confidence. This might sound like they have like this empty dish mentality. Like they make a lot of noise. They sound like the smartest person, but you actually ask themselves. It's like they have that personality. That's what.
Yeah, that's true.
Not the best articulation, but I think kind of understand what I was trying to say.
Yeah, I absolutely understand. And even in my class, there's, let's say maybe 3 people. Maybe 3 people, like 4 people. More like I'm not among them.
Yeah.
I'm not among them. But I definitely think like 3 or 4 people probably would make it in finance. Because it's not only just about your personality. It's mean to say this, but you also need some starting capital.
You need some capital.
Yeah, you need some starting capital. And I do think, some people are more advantaged in that area than others. And, they can afford to make mistakes at the beginning. Yeah. And, even if they, lose 1,000 euros in a month, and like for a person with less money, that'd be catastrophic. I don't know what even to tell you.
Yeah.
But for that person, it's like, okay, I lost $1,000. Okay, I'm gonna ask dad or mom for 2,000 next month, so I definitely don't lose.
It's only 1,000.
Yeah, it's only 1,000.
Do you know anyone like that who it's like only someone?
Not in finance, but I definitely know like
personally.
I know a person who has that capital, and he doesn't really value it that much.
We all have that person.
He recently bought a car. Recently, like in the last few months. Recently bought a car, and after I think 2 weeks, he crashed it. And not because there was a freak accident on the road. No, he was just bored with the car.
Bored and you crashed
and he just started going. It was a BMW.
Wow.
And a new BMW, not
new
like
BMW.
Yeah. And he decided to go on a rally track because he's Finnish. His name is. I'm not gonna say his name. Let's just say.
Your friend on...
Yeah, I'm not gonna say his name. But he crashed into a tree. Not at high speed, but he totaled the car. His name starts with UK.
UK.
Yeah, the first letters are UK. And he's a bit of a.
Yeah.
I don't think he should have that much money. Nothing against him, but I think it would be easier for him in life if he didn't have that money. As I don't think some people they spawn with the money, like they're born into the money, but they don't really understand money. They have this like, okay, the money is gonna be there.
Just gonna be there.
Yeah, and then. I don't know, like the money stops coming in, like they still have a barrier, right? They still have all the money that they had before. But they start spending it, and they end up in like 10 years, 20 years, like as homeless people. Because I'm not kidding, like that's something that happens quite often with, especially in the US, with people who are born into rich families. Yeah. Drugs as well are a very big part of it. Alcohol. With actors, it's the same.
I think it's so prevalent in the acting industry.
It's with child stars as well.
Yeah, child stars. And you see when they end up like usually a bit successful. Like
what is Henry McCaulkin? Like the guy who played Kevin from Kevin Home Alone, whatever it was called.
Alone, yeah.
Yeah, like he got clean like a few years ago, but like before that he ended up poorly. I do think like a lot of people don't appreciate this finance. So I do think we talked for a while. I do think we even talked over the 50 minutes that we had. I think that's gonna be it for today. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for staying with us for this whole podcast episode about finance with Ishaan. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and bye.
Bye.